Hello, it's Teresa. I'm back. Welcome to 11th Hour Shaman's Cup of Tea podcast slash video blog. Each week ish, you and I will explore a shaman's perspective and practices in emotional sovereignty, self-reliance, nutritional herbalism, and natural health. Dream work. Boy, have I had some dreams lately. Intuitive body work, and soul purpose, and a kaleidoscope of topics when choosing an unconventional path in these modern days. So, all of this is so that we can create a life that we love to love. I'm your hostess, Teresa Gutierrez, an author, an NDEer, a vegan, strong mother of four, and goofy Grammy of two. I'm the founder of 11th Hour Shaman, the portal for bringing your dreams into physical reality. And how do we do this? By developing a healthy, loving relationship with the divine and living in a daily rhythm that's in alignment with your soul's purpose, your divinely designed self expression. That looks different every day, but it's still something we want to give our attention to. So if you value personal growth and soul purpose, if you value your body temple and health as the conduit to spirit that it is, if you value your sovereignty and self-reliance, you've landed in the right place because we discuss real strategies and earth-based shamanic practices proven safe and effective for decades, actually millennia, thousands and thousands of years of being human. So here we are. I got to have a beautiful experience when I was working with a client. I know I shared a while back that Archangel Azrael came into a session to bless my client. And what I've noticed since then is that he is present for all of my clients. He is now a member of my angel team that I'm aware of. Whereas before, who knows? He may have been there and I never asked his name before, but now I know. I feel his energy is deeply loving and very powerful in all the best ways, there to bless my clients and me as the practitioner doing body work. So recently, I was on a particular area of my client's body, and I felt all of this energy. It feels very prickly when it is either physically or emotionally painful. And I can feel when someone has physical pain or emotional pain. They call this reading energy. I'm sure many of you also can feel energy, but I read this energy and then the angels give me a way to put this in words so that it can actually help someone. And I call this an angel message. And the sentence came out interesting. The sentence was, use your gift of empathy for you, not against you. Or use your gift of empathy for you rather than against you. That was the original statement. And both of us were like, what does that mean exactly? And so I just felt into that. And this is so interesting because when we're using our empathy against us, against ourselves, it can create, in traditional Chinese medicine, it can create issues with the stomach, the spleen, and the pancreas. And what I mean by issues is it dampens the energy flow to those organs, to that system, that meridian. So we definitely want to use empathy for us because what it looks like when we're using it against us is worry, chronic worry with no end in sight, no resolution. just worry. And when we carry worry energy for too long, that will break down the function of the stomach, spleen, pancreas, meridian. So, of course, we want to use our gift of empathy, our ability to feel feelings for ourselves, not against ourselves. And I notice a lot of empaths have the ability to feel the emotions of other people. And I'm an empath, and I definitely feel the emotions of other people, especially when I'm doing body work, long distance or in person. It doesn't matter. It's just the choice to tune into their energy body. So, what I want to say is, if you feel into the worry about how others will feel if you make a certain decision, for example, if you answer yes or answer no to a request being made of you, just as an example, and you take the time to feel into worrying about how they're going to feel based on your response, and then you choose to go against yourself, what you really want, because you're worried about how they're going to feel, that's how you use the gift of empathy against yourself. So when you forget to feel into how you will feel if you're using the gift of empathy against yourself, you have the ability to feel into all of it, to feel into what are they going to think? How are they going to feel? Oh my goodness, I can't tell them the truth about my yes or my no, right? But you really can. But I want you to be able to do it in a way that you feel empowered, safe, and empowered. So you worry, it could look like you're worrying if you follow your gut instinct, your intuitive hit, and you speak your truth. You you worry that that means that you're a bad person for telling them the truth about how you feel. You worry that you're a bad person, a bad dad, a bad mom, a bad partner, a bad daughter. Like, you get what I'm saying, right? But I'm telling you, you are for sure a good person, because if you weren't, it would never cross your mind to consider another person's feelings. What I'm curious about is, do they consider your feelings? I think as a human being, it's important to take everybody into account, but it's using your gift of empathy against yourself when you leave yourself out of the equation, when you don't even take the time to take a look at how you're feeling if you say yes or no, for example. So when you choose them over you, like you get a gut feeling to say no, but you don't say no, you say yes, it's now become a self-betrayal. And what I think is interesting is a lot of times people will feel resentment, even though they chose the self-betrayal. And then it creates a whole lot of pain and disharmony inside the body. And of course, your mind and heart are now out of coherence, and it's a whole mess of trouble. People will come to me with stomach problems, pancreas problems, spleen problems, all because they have been ignoring their gift of empathy or using it against themselves instead of for themselves. So the gift of empathy is a healer's gift. That doesn't mean you have to use it to heal other people the way that I do. What it means is the gift of empathy is a gift I believe all humans have, the ability to sense into another person's feelings, to open our energy field up to feel what they're feeling. We are not meant to use this against ourselves to demonize ourselves. I would say that if you're not using it as a gift to be a healer, for example, like I choose to, you could definitely use it in your friendships or in your parenthood or other strong, healthy relationships. And we do this by genuinely caring about each other, and we do consider their feelings, but it's typically a reciprocal relationship where the energy exchange feels really good and it feels equal, if that makes sense. But if we're constantly feeling into the consideration of how someone else is feeling, and we never take the time to consider how we're feeling, then we get ourselves into a lot of confusion and pain and eventually unwellness, basically. So if you turn against yourself, like let's say your gut or your intuitive hit, wherever it hits for you, usually for me, it hits me right in the gut. One of my kids feels it in their chest, someone else might feel it in their throat. You get what I'm saying. But you feel an intuitive yes or no, but you go against your own intuition. Now you've created a self-betrayal because you forgot that following your intuition is self-compassion. It is self-empathy. It is self-loyalty. And when you choose that, when you choose self-loyalty and self-empathy, you begin to feel empowered and you begin to heal a part of yourself and you begin to create a sense of freedom and liberation within your own body. This is very vitalizing for the health of your body, for the vibration of every cell in your body. When you feel free, when you feel liberated to just be your honest self. So every body actually has this body arc, and that might sound strange. I'm talking about ARC, not ARK, but it could be argued for both cases. And when I say this, it's because I was in a meditation and all of a sudden, spirit showed me like this image of the body arc. And this is what I'm like, they were showing it to me because this is basically what I'm seeing when I'm reading energy from a body. I'm reading their body arc, which is, I wrote this down in my journal. It's like a story arc. When you read a book, it's the plot, it's the sequence of events. Your body holds the story of your life in it. And whether or not you are consciously aware of the feelings and events that are still trapped in your body, it doesn't really matter if you're conscious of it. What matters is that it's there. And I can give you such a personal example of this. So my mom passed away when I was 15 years old. It was very sudden and totally unexpected. And that was in 1989. I didn't know. Of course, I grieved, right? I was sad. I knew I was sad. I knew I missed her. But I didn't know that I was mad. I didn't know I was angry that she died until 2010. So that would be 21 years. I had no clue that I was angry at her for dying. So when people tell me, oh, I'm not angry, or I'm not this, or I'm not sad, or I'm not grieving anymore, I'm reading the energy off their body and it's still there. It hasn't been processed, or I think digested is such a better word for this, because when we digest things, we sort it out. We chew it up and we separate what is good for us and nourishing for us, and we get rid of everything that isn't. So I feel like that's the same thing with our life events. We're going to keep everything that nourishes us and is so good for us, and we're going to just get rid of everything else. It's not needed anymore. So that's my example. So when I'm working with people, I'm reading the body arc. That's it. I'm reading your body arc, your story, and I'm feeling that energy. And then when it's like I get these angel messages very clearly, sometimes it's angels and sometimes it's elevated ancestors, and other times my spirit animals will go in there and help with certain things. But my point is, it's there, especially if you're sick. sick with anything, long-term chronic or, cold, flu, COVID, whatever. It's just we've lost our power somewhere. We got confused, or we're unconscious of it. We just left our power somewhere. And this can show up in the most basic ways. So some people might be offended. I'm losing my power. I didn't give it away. But honestly, we all do this every day because we're human. We forget to, for example, we forget to just pay attention to how we're feeling. Literally, our energy. Am I tired? Do I need to rest? Do I need to meditate? Just 5 minutes, 20 minutes to feel the sensations in our body. Like, is my throat feeling a little bit, Like, could this be the beginning of maybe getting sick? And what could I do to take care of myself right now so I don't fall into that? I know that when I do breath work, I feel my entire body, the whole energy field just expands and I feel really strong. And there have been several times that I feel a little, maybe I might be catching something or coming down with something, but then I meditate because I'm paying attention to my body. And then that energy, that shifts everything and I don't get sick. Or I'll start taking my elderberry syrup or garlic or whatever it is. So if I ignored those signals or just was too busy to pay attention to myself, then that is a version of disempowering myself. And I think most of us do that. And then we get sick with something. Sometimes it's small and sometimes it's big. But when we ignore ourselves for a very long period of time, we are holding a lot of negative energy in our energy fields. And eventually it affects our systems in a chronic way. So another reason why people end up on my table. So I want to give a couple exercises. The main one is really very simple, and I really want to encourage you to do it, even though most people resist journaling, because journaling helps us see what's in our head on a piece of paper. So it gives us a degree of separation from the thoughts, the sentences running through our well, I want to say the mind, but the mind doesn't move, right? Your awareness jumps around maybe all over the mind to the thoughts that are possible. But journaling, when you just write one sentence per line, you get very clear on what you're actually thinking, what you're really worried about when you're considering someone else's feelings. So that would be step one. Write down all of the thoughts, worries, the sentences in your mind about them, about what you're considering. Why are you worried about them and what they're going to say or think or how they're going to feel? Write it all down. You're thinking about it anyway. So just write it down and get some degree of separation between your brain and the sentence, because you are not your thoughts. It's you that is able to have awareness to look at all the thoughts. So then, personally, I would use another piece of paper or, fold them in half. Write out how you're going to feel, right? We're using the gift of empathy to feel. If you're feeling how they're going to feel, I want you to take the time to feel how you are going to feel. That is step two. So, how are you going to feel if you betray your gut instinct? Write it all down. Allow yourself to feel your feelings. If you betray your gut instinct, your intuition that says yes or no, as an example, how are you going to feel? For me personally, I would feel sick to my stomach and probably angry and resentful, even though it's my choice, right? But it's important to notice these things, to notice the sequence of events from that point. I also want you to write out, so you could call it step three, write out how you would feel if you honored your intuition. You honor your gut instinct for yes or no. How would you feel if you honored yourself? So these are all really important steps. And believe it or not, all of this will benefit your actual physical health. So that's one exercise you can do. And then I want you to make a decision on purpose about what you're going to choose. Are you going to honor your intuition, or are you going to use your gift of empathy against yourself? Just know what you're choosing and choose it on purpose. And then notice the results that you get, like an experiment. It doesn't have to be like the end of the world. It can just be, yeah, I chose to go against my gut because I didn't feel safe going with my gut. Now, why didn't you feel safe? Boy, oh boy. That is a real thing. And for sure, you should write that down, because maybe a new decision about your circumstances needs to be examined. And that also needs a new decision in support of you, in support of your physical health, your mental, emotional health, and your spiritual health. Another exercise you could do to deepen this is, when you find these sentences, you can run these sentences through your thoughts, your worries, right? All of that. You can run it through the self-coaching model that Brooke Castillo created, or you can run it through the work of Byron Katie, the work, and and really take a deeper look at what these thoughts really are. Is it useful to keep thinking this thought and acting on it? Is it not useful? What would be a thought process that would be healthier for you, that would be more supportive of you in creating and living the life that you really want? So those are it. That's the 2 exercises. If you need more help or information about those, then I'd be happy to work with you. I do one-on-one consults to do work together. I do body work in person and long distance, and I've been an herbalist for 27 years. I know recently I was working on someone, and specific herbs came through while I was doing the body work, but then I just afterwards, I gather the info and I send an email for a more detailed, I guess I would call them notes of the session and steps forward to help someone with everything they're dealing with, the physical aspect and the mental, emotional. So anyway, that was it today. This message brought to you by me on how to use the gift of empathy for you instead of against you is basically to feel into yourself, feel into you and your genuine desires, your genuine gut instinct, intuitive answers, and make a decision on purpose on whether or not you're going to honor that and create the life that you really deserve, a life that you genuinely love. Dr. Joe says, Dr. Joe Dispenza, he says, feeling in your heart a joy for living, a genuine joy for living. You're only going to be able to do that if you're honoring yourself, if you are using your gift of empathy for you rather than against you. So thank you again for tuning in to this podcast. I'm truly honored for your presence here. And again, you can book a free consultation to work with me for angel readings or angel guided healings. I work with compassionate helping spirits. Sometimes it's just easier to pick one word like angels, but we have quite a variety of compassionate helping spirits working with us and near us all the time, supporting us in our lives. And sometimes it's just hard to hear them. And so we go and get some help. And I'm here for you. I do this work long distance and in person. So until next time, let's do our best and be our realest selves, our most empathic selves, and tuning in and moving towards our dreams, one guided step at a time. Big squishy hugs till then. Bye.